All right, let's wrap this up with Module 4 and show you how the moment of courage brings it all together for some individuals. And like I said, I have hundreds of these people out there. Today we're going to use a quick 4, all right? But it will illustrate how the moment of courage really worked for them and how it can work for you. Fair enough? All right, so the first one is, his name is Mike Triller, old baseball player for Clemson University, where I live. And, you know, he was just one level short of being a pro baseball player, but loved being around baseball. Kind of like I love being around aviation. He loves being around baseball, and he really wanted to have an opportunity to be in baseball or to go to that baseball field every day of his life. So he spent the first year of his life unemployed, all right? Unemployed, we got together. We spent about 3.5 hours together working through a moment of courage because he knew what his Denver was. And he already had the advice from years of experience, and he had the desire to be there. He just couldn't get in the hen house. So we worked 3.5 hours. He was waiting for a call from the Washington Nationals. But his dream job, as unbelievable as it might have been, was to work for the New York Yankees. Now, if you're unemployed, sitting in small town Clemson, South Carolina, that's a pretty big ask. Keep in mind, this was March. This was in March. We're sitting there talking. We spent 3.5 hours, and I said, listen, we're not going to wait on the Washington Nationals to call you. We're just not. We're going to go take what we deserve. You're going to call them, and you're going to go take it with a moment of courage. So through the 3.5 hours, we went through what that looks like, what that felt for him, how to get that heart to come out of his mouth, and illustrate why he's chocolate in a sea of vanilla, all right? It was on a Monday. I'll never forget. This is quite a story, but it's all 100% true. All my stories are. And it just illustrates what a moment of courage can do. So 2 days later, you know, he was all jacked up, ready to go take what he deserves because he was that kind of guy. And he calls me. And I can see where I was driving. He's like, Steve, he goes, I called the Nationals, got him on the phone, and the guy re-interviewed me. And I was like, cool. Now I've had this conversation with people hundreds of times. I know how it's going to go. And he goes, just like you said, there was this moment, this pause, this hesitation in the interview. And I was like, yeah, you know what's going to happen. I said, yeah. And he goes, I bailed. I bailed on the moment of courage. And I'm like, seriously, I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I said, okay, what happened? Well, he says, well, the interview kept going. He goes, and finally at the end, the guy said to me, he goes, listen, we'll keep your resume on file, and if we have an opening, we'll be in touch. That's words for, we ain't ever calling your ass back. Welcome to second place, right? Now I'm thinking to myself, why in the hell is he calling me to tell me this after 3.5 hours of my time to fail? So I'm just being patient, as hard as that is for me. I said, okay, what happened next? He said, well, I hung up the phone, and listen, at some point in everyone's life, you've got to decide, are you in it to win it or not? And he said, Steve, I looked at the phone and I said, F it. He goes, I picked the phone back up, dialed the guy's number. This is verbatim, all right? He said, I dialed the guy's number and he goes, and he answered. I couldn't believe he answered. Now I'm going, okay, what happened? I said, what happened then? He's like, I just had my moment of courage. And I was like, what'd you do? He goes, I just started yelling in the phone. I'm the guy. He just let his heart come out of his mouth, okay? Because he had nowhere to fall. He was already laying on the ground without a job. He just let it roar and come out of his mouth. And I said, okay, what happened? He said, the guy said, you're hired. You start Friday. No shit. That's how this works. Because we're all looking for that guy. We're not looking for the guy in the previous phone call being politically correct and yes and no and this and that. Just bring a sledgehammer to a glass party. Well, Mike, guess what? He got in the hen house and then he started to eat. And then, as you can see, about 7-8 months later, it was in December, he sends me a text saying, hey, shockingly, he's interviewing for the Yankees. And I, being me, say, take what you deserve. And you know what? Guess what? He knew how to do a moment of courage. He knew how the game was played. He knew the keys to unlock the door. And he walked into the Yankees organization. And then he ate, okay? He started at a video position, okay, not a big deal with the Yankees. But he ended with being the agent to the players for all their personal needs. From Derek Jeter on down, he was the guy, okay, having the time of his life. And since then, he's moved on from there and doing other things in his life now. But it's just illustrative of how a moment of courage can really give you everything you want if you're willing to take it and be that person. It's not a flippant thing. You've got to train for it. I've got to show you how to do these kind of things. And this is what this is all about, how to win, how to finish first instead of second. That's how Mike got everything he ever wanted. All right, so let's go to Connor Butterfield. He's another wonderful young man who graduated when he was working as a young 20-something-year-old. He worked with me and thought that he might want to be in the wine and liquor business. Well, as we were actually sitting in a Starbucks inside of a grocery store talking, and I said, let's just get up, because I could see over at the wine rack there was a wine distributor putting wine out and doing all his work over there. So you know what we did? Shockingly, we went over to the guy and we said, we need your advice. See how this works? I said, how long have you been in the wine business? He said, 20 years. I said, great. This young man would love to be in the wine business. What do you know? If you could go back to being 20 years old, knowing what you know about the wine business, what would you tell this young man? And he wouldn't shut up. He told him all the things he wanted to know about the wine business. And when I left Connor, after we were done with all of our teachings, I just thought he was going to be into that. Well, he pivoted. He figured out Denver wasn't really for him, and he got an opportunity to interview with Otis Elevator. Okay, that was something that he really wanted to do. And as he says to me in this email, he had a moment of courage with Otis Elevator, and shockingly, guess what? He got the job. Again, 100% success rate when it comes to moment of courage. It doesn't fail if you do it right and you're not bullshitting. If you're doing it just to get a job, don't. You'll hurt yourself and you'll hurt the employer. But if this is what you're really Denver is, you'll win, right? So he gets with Otis Elevator and gets the job, and shockingly, he calls me and sends me an email. All this stuff happens. Guess what, Steve? Guess what? And here they are. Promotions, raises, whatever it takes, all the rewards are coming to them. It's the same process over and over and over again to go take what you deserve. But you can't illustrate this level of desire without it being one of your Denvers, and to make sure what you're doing is actually going to work the way you want. All right? So let's get on with Katie. Katie came to me. She wanted to be a buyer for a retail clothing giant, right? It's another big ask. Okay, unemployed, wanted to be a big buyer. Well, I worked with her through various levels of different things, and finally she got herself an interview with a big retail clothing store here called Belk, and in the Southeast, they're fairly big, or used to be. And guess what? She had a moment of courage and got the job. Now, does she start as a buyer for Belk? No, but like she says, she doesn't care, because the fox is in the hen house, and the fox will eat. And now Katie's a buyer. As the years have passed, she's accelerated up the company and has eaten and is getting all the rewards that she's ever wanted. The weird thing with Katie is Katie did not call me to thank me and to tell me, Steve, guess what? It's the first time ever no one's called me, but this is also the first time this happened. Her father called me. Her father called me to thank me for giving his daughter an opportunity that they only thought would be a dream. And here it is becoming a reality. And to me, nothing was better than that. As a dad, I get that. You want the best for your kids, and he did as well. He just didn't know how to give her the tools for her to accomplish that. And this is what this course does, is it gives you the tools to open up any door you want to get in, as long as you follow the steps in the process in which they're doing. Fair enough? All right. Let's get to my latest one. This was just last week. And again, this happens all the time. I rarely train somebody over the phone, okay, because I need to see your passion coming through your face, all right? But this young man called me. He had heard me speak and knew what a moment of courage was, but didn't quite know how to instigate it. And he was having an interview with a major bank up in the northeast part of the United States and needed to know how to get the job, because he really wanted the job. This was his Denver. We were able to skip Denver Advice and Desire because he was already there. He just wanted to be able to get it. The fox wanted to be in the hen house. And I walked him through a moment of courage like I've done for you in this course. And again, a lot of people it was an investment banking job up in the Northeast. A lot of people were competing for it. Well, and I told him, like I told you earlier, I said, listen, his name was Matt. And I said, Matt, this is a lean in moment. Again, excuse my analogy, but this is not, absolutely, I'd love to do this. This is someone called your mama a bitch. All right. This is, oh yeah. And you bring everything. I want this. This is what you don't understand. I'm the guy. I'm the guy that gets shit done when no one gets shit done. I'm the guy. You give me an opportunity, I will not let you down. That's the person you need to be for 15 seconds. That's all I'm asking you to do. And guess what? I could show him the door, but I can't make him walk through it. Okay? It's up to you if you want it that bad. And if you don't, that's cool. Like I've said many times, someone else will, and you will lose. But if this is something you really want and you're willing to get uncomfortable for 15 seconds and just let your heart come out of your mouth and roar, then you're going to win. And guess what? 2 days later, he called me back. Just 2 days. And he said, Steve, guess what? I was like, did you get the job? He said, damn straight I did. He goes, I start in a month. I can't wait. When that fox gets in that hen house, it's just going to eat. That's what's going to happen here. All right? And that's what I want for you. A moment of courage brings it all home and allows you to win at this thing called life. All right? It's the keys to the kingdom. But again, I can't emphasize this enough. Once you've done the moment of courage, once you're in the hen house, you've got to be willing to eat. And you've got to be willing to, if someone does say, hey, I need you there at 7 o'clock tonight. I need you there Saturday morning. I need you Sunday morning. You've got to be saying, hell yeah, I'm in it. I'll be there, no problem. If you're not that person, don't do this. It won't work, okay? You cannot BS your way through this. You've got to be willing to kick ass and take names. For me, if someone says, Steve, I got a new airplane and I just pulled into my hangar, it's 11 o'clock at night, I'll go. I don't care. I'll go. I'm happy to go to any airport, anytime, for any reason, for anyone, all right? And I try to get myself around aviation all that I can. When you're that way and you have a moment of courage, Denver, advice, desire, with a moment of courage, you will win and you will get the job you want, the money you need, and the life that you so deserve. And I think it's time we do it. I'll see you soon.